Hello everyone, my name is Aaron. I feel like one of those urchins right now in the water, but I'm going to try to get through this. We are Oo-Nee. We are a modular, scalable urchin ranching system designed to ranch the overpopulated sea urchins and restore kelp forests at the same time. So on the left here, this is what a healthy kelp forest looks like. I think everyone's seen this before. Why do we actually care about this kelp forest from a human perspective? Kelp forests actually capture about $500 billion every year in biodiversity from commercial fisheries, many of which we benefit from. Tens of millions of tons of nitrogen and carbon are also sequestered every single year. On the right side is an urchin barren. Some of you may have seen this, but essentially back in 2014, warming ocean waters killed the predators of sea urchins, and now these billions of sea urchins are proliferating across all of our oceans. Now, you would think that you could basically just let them die and leave them on the ocean floor. They actually are zombies. They don't die for years. They will sit on the empty ocean floor, empty, starved out, and essentially the kelp will not come back until they're removed. In a healthy environment, traditionally, people have actually come in to healthy forests and pulled urchins out, and they've been full of robust roe. Today, that's not the case, and we need to do something about it. So our mission is very simple. We collect the urchins by partnering with divers. We bring them onto land to fatten in a land-based ranching system, and we distribute and sell the Oo-Nee. Has anyone had Oo-Nee in this audience? Yeah, Oo-Nee is basically the delicacy inside the urchin, and it is actually worth a pretty penny. It's in the same category as Wagyu, truffles, caviar, and such. And so we're going to basically partner with these partner divers in the waters to collect these urchins from the space between healthy kelp forests and these urchin barrens. By removing them from these areas, the kelp forest can regenerate every single year, and we'll continue to move out and protect these forests. Our land-based system is proprietary. There's two main design theses that we have around future climate resiliency. Number one, make it recirculating and base it on land. That way, when there's major flooding and there's pollution, you can essentially enclose and protect your system. Number two, you want to make it modular and scalable by design because you do not want to have a complex system that you cannot replicate and you cannot basically take into other areas of the world where you have permitting issues around aquaculture. Those are the two design theses we have, and in 8 weeks, we're basically feeding them proprietary macroalgae, of which hopefully in the future Tim will actually supply me. But in 8 weeks, they're basically ready to go. We sell, distribute, we had a market pilot, and essentially as a number one Oo-Nee aficionado, I can tell you that this is probably the best Oo-Nee I've ever had. The two pictures on the right are basically whole cracked urchins that are live, and also shucked urchins in trays, organic urchins shucked in trays that we provided to sushi restaurants, high-end chefs, private chefs, and wineries in the Pacific Northwest. On the right are future products that are going to be more shelf-stable. And also, secondly, there's actually crushed urchin shell amendments that can actually replace things like industrial lime that are actually mined today from soil, from farms that are actually needing this. We can actually find a way to replace that. So this is the interesting thing about this, is that since COVID, the demand for wild harvested urchin has just exploded. You know, these are actually 5-year historical annual growth rates. Over 100%, even in the US, in Asia, you all have probably eaten your fair share of Oo-Nee here. The only country that is actually exporting Oo-Nee and having positive exports is actually Japan. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, as we talked about earlier, red tide is actually washing over not just Japan, but other places in the Pacific. And so the point here is that while you do have an estimated market of 200 million from the wild supply, the estimated demand over the past 5 years has actually grown, and the TAM is actually about $1 billion. So what do we need to do? We need to basically sort of figure out how to onshore this TAM and build a ranching market. Here, really, it's a greenfield opportunity. Less than 1% right now is ranched urchins. And arguably, a lot of these competitors are essentially going to be incorporated in our value chain in the future. So key milestones for us, we started in July of last year. We got permits, we set up a prototype, fully recirculating, fully modular, ready to scale. We're protecting and managing about 40 hectares of forests And we completed our feed trials, our market pilots. You guys saw pictures. You can follow us on Instagram. I'd love to keep in touch with you guys there. And what we're really looking for is a 20-month 10x roadmap. How do we actually 10x what we're doing right now? So in order for us to 10x, we want to build out a 200 raceway facility. We have 10,000 square feet of space that's already permitted. We want to protect 400 hectares of forest, and we want to find how we can actually figure out a way to measure that carbon impact. And we want to scale in our first TAM, which is the US. Again, a 5-year historical compound annual growth rate of over 100%, where 95% of that current supply is imported from cargo planes to the US, where we have a domestic year-round supply. We can basically optimize and exploit those supply chains. And our big, hairy, audacious goal, that I like to always mention, we're a land-based sea urchin. We want to basically create our standard operating model. We want to scale our tech. And then we want to go ahead and license our IP and franchise. Now, you would think, who wants to actually partner with an urchin ranch with proprietary IP? It's actually a lot of folks, seafood conglomerates, NGOs, governments, a lot of companies here that might be even looking for blue carbon credits in the future. That's all margin accretive. We don't necessarily need that to build a business model. We have about 67% gross margins and about $50 per se of about 100 grams of Oo-Nee. That's actually quite good for us. And that's going to allow us to basically scale and figure out how to protect hundreds of thousands of hectares of kelp forest in the future. And so we're raising an $850K seed round to hit about $1 million in revenue, and again, protect those 400 hectares. One of the good things about what we're doing is that we've already raised non-dilutive capital to get past this valley of CapEx. We're really sort of looking for funding to invest in the remaining small sliver of CapEx, but we want to get that investable thesis into the OpEx side so we can demonstrate that we're going to hit those numbers and provide value and data back to the investment community. And since we're actually officially kicking off our fundraise this week, I want to say that our cap table is completely clean. So founding team, Brad Bailey is my co-founder and CTO. He's actually been a diver and an industrial aquaculturist and builder for over 30 years. He's someone actually I admire, I trust, and I actually have developed what I would call a sort of a man crush on. I mean, he just knows the ecology and ecosystems completely well. I am essentially just a small fry in the big ecosystem. I mean, my background is in venture scale companies as an operator, both in product sales and marketing. But I've basically been ideating on ways to build sustainable business models that both commercially scale and regenerate our degraded environment at the same time. And that's essentially been my ethos and my mission. And so I will kind of close with this pithy quote from Jane Goodall: "Reconnecting with nature is key if we want to save the planet." I hope we can reconnect and find ways to build sustainable pathways that connect our minds, our hearts, and our stomachs for this model. Thank you very much.